Okay, I want to certainly say hi to everyone and welcome back to Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is about consciousness, it's an awareness, it's what you are doing now. You are aware of watching this video, but as we talked with functionalism, that the mind is somewhat like a river with little tributaries branching off from the main river. Your thoughts may be somewhere else. That's perfectly okay. Yeah, you think about whatever you would like. Now, it talks about a two-track mind. I changed it to altered states, meaning that we can go into different types of consciousness, different types of an awareness. And then there's another aspect to this. Maybe it's just called hijacking the brain. We get up in the morning. I don't know whether you drink coffee or not, but many times individuals get up in the morning and things just don't function right until we have a cup of coffee. And that cup of coffee makes things all okay. So there's various ways that we can hijack the brain. Some of them may be positive, some of them may be negative. And so we will visit about that a little bit later on. One of the aspects that comes into play is sleep and dreams. Sleep is an interesting topic. We like to discuss it. At times we even like to do it. And when we don't get enough sleep, that certainly shows up. This is a concern of people not getting enough sleep in today's society. Then dreams. There's quite a bit of research being done on dreams, but as to the meaning of dreams, where do dreams come from? And it's kind of interesting because, man, a person can really have some weird dreams. A person can have some dreams that no way in the world are you going to repeat those dreams. Hypnosis, that's another mind-altering type of scenario or consciousness. Is there really hypnosis? Does someone really have the power over someone else to put them in an altered state? Remember, I didn't say two-track, but I said an altered state. Was the brain really hijacked by someone else? You know, we've seen that the clock going back and forth, and you are getting sleepy, you are getting sleepier, and then all of a sudden their head drops over to one side and they're out. Well, hypnosis is another aspect. I'll touch on these just briefly, but you just wonder whether or not someone has the magical power over another individual. And of course, another way of hijacking the brain is through the use of drugs, and we have a lot of drugs. We have drugs that put us to sleep. We have drugs that wake us up. We have drugs that slow us down. We have drugs that speed us up. And so we have basically a drug for any type of feeling that we want. But when we look at this, we have approximately in this 3-pound mass inside of our head, we have approximately 100 billion cells. Now, there's some dispute even to this. Do we really have 100 billion? I haven't counted. I don't know who has counted. But these cells connect. And as a rule, they do not touch. We have some that are hardwired, but as a rule, the cells do not touch, and they communicate with one another. This communication is absolutely fascinating to me. And this is the big study that's taking place. They're declaring this period now, the period of the brain, the period of the state of the brain. And even in psychology and a lot of other topics, we have more and more neuroscience coming in. You think about the brain and our thoughts How can a electrical impulse, excuse me for just a minute, I was just distracted, but an electrical impulse with a chemical produce a thought, produce a memory, and that memory can be replicated. It's amazing when you think about it. How do I know when I see someone to act aggressively or to smile or to be disappointed, to be happy, to be sad, to grieve? How does the brain communicate this? It's amazing. It's amazing when we think about the connections. Like I say, 100 billion brain cells, 100 trillion connections. There's not a count on this, but some of these cells have up to 80 connections to other cells. So this is really important with our mind. We can train our mind, we can train our body, and I'm going to be talking about that in just a little bit. We also have the split brain, the left brain, and the right brain. The left brain is somewhat sequenced. The right brain is somewhat intuitive. And if we want to compare them or use an analogy, the left brain is like the students sitting into the in the classroom, in the seats, in rows, paying attention or supposedly paying attention, and very sequenced and orderly. That's the left brain. Then the right brain could be exemplified by kids out on the playground, running every direction, not really having a purpose in mind, but just playing on the playground. So this could be the difference between the two brains, and I just wanted to work on this for an awareness. There's tests that can be done, right brain, left brain tests. What are we? Are we left-brained or right-brained? It's an interesting, fascinating study. Now, with all of these cells working the way they are we able to pay attention? I have driven through red lights. When I was driving an automobile, there'd be a red light there. I've driven through it. And I've stopped at green lights. Now, what took place in my brain that caused this type of action or reaction? We have a circadian rhythm. That's a day and night rhythm. Most of us have a regular time when we go to bed. We have a time when we wake up. Our body is adjusted to these circadian rhythms. The circadian rhythm is about 24 and a half hours, about. And this certainly can vary. But if we can become accustomed to going to bed at 10 o'clock, we will go to bed at 10 o'clock. And if we're accustomed to sleeping until 5 o'clock, we will sleep until 5 o'clock. Now, this varies with individuals. And they have taken individuals and they put them in a dark room where there was no light. There was no way to, well, it wasn't necessarily a dark room, but light didn't come in to the room. But they didn't have any way of distinguishing 8 o'clock from 12 o'clock. There were no clocks or anything. Their circadian rhythm changed, and it varied. Now, we are pretty much on we'll say a 24-hour cycle. But some of these individuals' circadian rhythms, it was reported through the study that some of the circadian rhythms went to 16 hours, and some circadian rhythms went up to 50 hours. So circadian rhythm is kind of an interesting concept. Then we have sleep stages. And when individuals go to sleep, they start out in a light sleep, stage 1, and a deeper sleep, and a deeper sleep yet, and then they go into stage 4, and then they come out of stage 4 and go into 3, 2, and 1, and then they go into what is called REM, rapid eye movement. And in rapid eye movement, the body becomes rather rigid. We dream. Blood flow increases to the genitals, and this is during the REM sleep. And then after we go through the REM sleep, then we go through stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1 REM. And from one REM to another REM, it's about 90 minutes. Another interesting aspect we have is hallucinations and delusions. Hallucinations is basically any type of false perception that we can take in through our five senses or one of our five senses. Delusions is a false thought process. If we thought that there were giants outside of the house and these giants were 10 feet tall, that would be a delusion. If we could hear these giants talk, that would be an hallucination. Some of the sleep concerns, insomnia, difficulty in falling to sleep, narcolepsy, very easy to fall asleep and you never know when. Apnea is snoring, holding the breath during sleep, and then sleep terrors usually are associated with children. Okay, hypnosis, what is it? We've discussed that a little bit. And down here, we have a term here, dissociation. Now, this term here is the divided consciousness, and it plays a part, this word plays a part in multiple personality disorder. And we are aware of the multiple personality disorder. Now, here's a list of the drugs. We have depressants, barbiturates, opiates, stimulants, hallucinogens. I mean, we have a drug for any type of feeling that we want. Some of them are readily available, such as we take marijuana now in some of the states, recreational marijuana, and you can purchase that in Colorado and Washington. And then there are some other states that have some relaxed drug laws. This pretty much covers consciousness and the various ways that we can employ the term consciousness, the various levels of consciousness, and it can come down also to hijacking the brain. So until the next chapter, you have a good day, and I'll be looking forward to visiting with you.